Hi, ladies and gentlemen, George here, and I'm going to bring to you today a after calamity report. Now, everybody has heard of an after action report, but an after calamity report is, as you might have guessed, uh, a a story of an outcome that was very disastrous for one side and not so disastrous for the other. I'm sure everybody has experienced this, but nobody has gone to confession about it. The scenario in question, Rehearsal for Crete, takes place in the Peloponnese, Greece on 26th of April 1941. Mark was playing the Germans. No, Mark was playing the Allies. I was playing the Germans. And just a little side note about the Corinth Canal. As you can see, it's straight and narrow and has cliffs on each edge. It's been like that for centuries. I mean, yeah. Here you go. Here's an overview from the top. Now, back to the scenario card. Right here. The British player has quite a few formidable forces, including a powerful AA gun and a nice heavy machine gun that can guard the victory locations. The 40 AT guns, 40L AT guns, are underscored and can only fire AP ammunition, which restricts the amount of firepower that they can exact on the German player. Speaking of the German player, let's go to the German OB. There we go. So we have glider troops. Let me tell you, I like glider troops. They didn't fare so badly. Paratroopers is a different story, however. More of that later. A couple more reinforcements with gliders, a couple more paras, and an element that is supposed to go right through a gauntlet of AT fire with very weak armor, one armor factor. All right, so let's take a look at the scenario setup. So basically, you have to choose as the German where your paratroops and where your gliders are going to land. For glider troops, if you pick an area where you have open ground, 5 hexes of open ground before your drop point, you're most likely going to crash. You're most likely not going to crash and land safely unless the AA guns get you, or AA fire. As the paratroops, however, there's two big random events that you have to pass. First is you have to pass a die roll to ensure that the board that you selected is in fact the board that you will land. Secondly, if you do not pass that dice roll to confirm that you're landing on that particular board, you have to select another board by random selection. Once you've done that, there is drift. Drift of the 5 stick, the stick of paratroops. And how we did that in Vassal is as follows. Okay. Let's say this is the wing, and by random selection, we determined that they will be landing here as opposed to their initial landing spot, which was here. So basically, at that point, you have to start with number 5 here, and then you have to draw a chit to find out which letter coordinate you're going to be in. So where we found out that to be was somewhere around here. Let's take a look. Nope. Here. Unit. Info. Where if I locate. Geez, I'm having a hard time finding it. Unit. I know where it was. Sasso, other, sasso, letter chit. There you go. Now, draw and EE. Therefore, at 5EE is where we're going to have to land. And as you can see, some people are off the board. Okay. And then again, you have to draw for drift. So 2d6. In this case, it's 1 and 3. So we'll go 1, 2, 3. 1 is the direction of the, 1 is the direction of the letter coordinate, the letter and number coordinate. So it should be the opposite way. 1, 2, 3. Then there's more mechanics with respect to where they're going to drop, how they're going to get fired on, and if you so happen to drop on buildings or woods, there's another morale check. So long story short, in order for the paratroops to survive, they need something short of a miracle. Maybe I'm exaggerating. For dramatic effect, folks, bear with me. All right. So now we're looking at the board at setup. My plan as the German player was, let's see if we can draw. Yeah, we can draw. We can draw using our windows. Okay, my plan was as follows. Have a draw point here, have a draw point here, and we use a good old pincer movement. But I needed to dedicate some forces to ensure that my reinforcements that would come in from anywhere around here could do so without any interdiction from the British AT guns. This looks wicked. Oh well. Now let's go back to our photos. Leave without changes? Yes, please. All right. So let's go on to the next photo. The end of turn 1. Well, how do things look like? Well, the British player moves first, and the end of the first British player turn, I see that we have a lot of forces around this area. The bridge, which is the victory objective, is covered well. He's trying to entrench his troops. The Greeks are moving in every different direction, scattering. And he's doing this in order to avoid Stukas, which now, after this game, I politely call them flying stupids, because they're largely ineffective. And let's go on to the next picture. All right. So ultimately, my plan did not work. It did not work because I didn't make any contingencies for drift on different boards. In other words, if the paratroops did not successfully land on the board that I initially selected, I should have had a plan for every board as to what those particular units would do should something go wrong with their landing zone. That I did not do, unfortunately. As you can see, a few troops did land here and here in this village, and they are attacking the AT gun to no avail. These units were at first unknown to me, but they did become known, and they were very effective in cutting down my advancing paratroopers, smoke or no smoke. And a couple of units, as you can see, drifted all the way to at least 2 boards away from their victory objective, right down here. almost right smack against an armored column, an armored British column. Next calamity. Nothing much has changed here. We're trying to prioritize the elimination of this AT gun so the German reinforcements can come in unimpeded. The Stuka attacks were completely useless. And these troops here hardly were able to go on board. Again, the situation isn't changing. The only successful group was here, and they came up to the elevated road where they were able to, at least for 2 turns, prevent the Allied player from setting the demo charges. But that was the only success story in this scenario. All right, and these guys are just holding back a couple of, holding back is not properly the proper word, it's just a diversion of the British armored column. Personally, I would have, if I was the British player, I would have done everything I could to move up the armored column to this board, set those demo charges, provide cover even for the troops trying to set the demo charges, and blow it up. That's all it takes really to win the scenario. Let's see. What is going on here? Again, this fellow, despite being pinned, broken, kept giving back, kept getting KIAs against these advancing troops. So eventually I would have to force some of my successful troops to take these woods and try to clear the path for my reinforcements to come in. They didn't. So this is turn 2, still the same situation. As you can see, some paratroops were damaged. There were a couple of forces that landed here successfully but were eliminated by the British forces. This fellow is advancing and trying and making headway in launching an attack against this AA gun. Here there's close combat, but still the initiative is still with the British. Here we still have a calamity because all these fellows here are broken, and thanks to a 40_L. These fellows here are in a position now to threaten the A gun and to they did successfully prohibit any setting of the demo charges, but again, the hard part is to advance on your objective and take control of these 2 hexes. Ahistorical in terms of geography, as you can see, this is a bit jagged. It's all straight. There's no cliffs on each edge of the water. There should be. And the other thing that was ahistorical is the Germans managed to do a complete surprise on the Allied forces here. Okay. Let's jump to the end. So at the end, I think it was at turn 4, the end of turn 4, we were not able to eliminate the AT gun. The Germans, despite that, came in rather successfully. They were not blown to pieces, this is what you should expect from half-tracks and armored cars. Despite all the forces I had at my disposal, I focused too much on the wrong area. I should have focused on eliminating him I had some initial successes, but he bounced back due to heat of battle. And over here, we're about to jump in to close combat with the AA gun and eliminate it, but a lot of good that will do, because despite all the air assaults and whatnot, it's time for the Allies to get their reinforcements, and they are now blocking any viable route to the bridge for these fellows that did not meet their power drop. So that's the long and short of it, of my first and ever, and hopefully the last Calamity report. After Calamity report, I hope you enjoyed the video and give it a thumbs up. See you next time. Take care.